What does the release of the state of capture report mean to the country? Can the Constitution save South Africa from any form of capture? And what can be made of Matola Mtsaga's call for President Jacob Zuma to resign? Why is the current leadership giving the ANC struggle veterans sleepless nights? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. The independence of the Judiciary won the day last week after the Pretoria High Court ordered the release of the state of capture report after numerous attempts to the contrary. Eskom CEO Brian Molefe even broke down during his response to this damning report, which refers to his apparent cosy relationship with the Guptas. There were a number of marches last week in support of Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan, while others were aimed at quote, saving South Africa, close quote. For their part, ANC Veterans, including former President Thabo Mbeki, have called on, or rather for a meeting with President Jacob Zuma in the wake of the report's release. Meanwhile, the state of capture report was expected to dominate today's ANC National Working Committee meeting. But of what importance is the Executive Ethics Act? We are live. Therefore, you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial is 089-110-4210. Our Twitter handle at QuestionTime24. My guest today, with the academia, Professor Stephen Friedman. He's a political analyst, and Professor Shadrach Guto is a constitutional expert. They're joining us right here in studio. Well, La Professori, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for making time. Professor Friedman, let me start with you. Did you really, did the report live up to expectations?
Well,
what is the price of ambition? Early mornings, late nights, or sacrificing the little things now for bigger things tomorrow? Ambitious people are all made of the same stuff. Big dreams, big dedication, and a big attitude. With an understanding that sometimes to get ahead in life, you need a helping hand from those a little bigger than you. For home, for business, for life. Macro, big on life.
4x4 by land, 4x4 by sea, 4x4 by air, cause the lot to fly free. The former country, how it all started out, for the brave and every Boy Scout. 4x4, doing it yourself cause you want it done right. 4x4.
Upgrade from the Jeep Renegade 1.4 Limited Auto to the all-wheel drive for free. For more offers on the Jeep range, visit jeep.co.za or your Jeep dealer today.
4x forever.
Hindu devotees took a holy dip at Sangam, the confluence of rivers Ganges. People and priests made their way to the banks before the break of dawn. Security arrangements were in place for police forces patrolling on the river banks to ensure smooth functioning of the event.
A mobile museum in India's West Mumbai is highlighting the skills and creativity of residents of one of Asia's largest slums.
That's what we've been doing here, is creating this platform, and we came here to help it develop and to, just build it up.
Well, welcome back. Hoping that you can hear me clearly now. We really apologize for the technical glitch that occurred. The joys of live television there. But indeed, we continue our discussion today on the state of capture report with the academia. Now, Professor Friedman, what I was saying was, did that report live up to expectations?
Well, if one understands what the report was supposed to do, the report was not supposed to find anybody guilty or not guilty. The public protector didn't have the time to deal with all the issues. What she did in the report is to investigate whether there is a case against various people, which she found there was, and her recommendation was that there should now be a commission of inquiry which will actually go into all the details and find out whether those charges are valid or not. Now, I mean, obviously my colleague can talk more about the legal position, but obviously, although nobody has been found guilty of anything with this report, I mean, obviously it has political implications, because if people are told in the report that they have a case to answer, I mean, that can be very damaging politically. So I think the effects at this stage are far more political than they are legal, and they could have a political impact going forward.
Prof, let us indeed look at the legal implications of that report.
Yes. Well, I think if we focus on the legal aspect, I would say, first of all, the state capture report by the public protector has revealed a lot, and I think pointed out areas where there were unlawful actions or violation of authority, and therefore abuse of power, which the public protector has responsibility to be able to examine and be able to say what are the remedial action. And I think in this case the report is out, and it will be now up to other authorities to be able to say, are they going to take action as required by the law that govern them. But in my view, the state capture report was a focus on very narrow issues. It was about state capture by the Gupta family and their businesses. And that in itself is very narrow.
But everybody who's mentioned in that report is saying they're taking it on review.
I think they should, if they think that they will get away with it. The evidence is there in the report, and some of it have been, the people were interviewed, and some actually sworn affidavit, like former MP, mentor, and so on. So the others have to indicate, did they actually visit that place for that long? Were they promised anything? And for that reason, I think that let them go to court and challenge it, and the courts will look for evidence, including were they there, why were they there, what were they promised, are they family friends of the family of the Guptas and so on, and was the president there? I think that is critical.
Okay. Prof, is this another albatross for the ANC?
Well, it's certainly a huge problem for the ANC, as we're seeing in the public reaction. I mean, obviously, if you have a situation, even though these are simply allegations at this stage, where there's a cloud hanging over the president, over several members of the cabinet, it has an effect. But I think the important thing to remember here is that the ANC is divided at the moment into two factions. The one faction, which is sympathetic to the president, obviously sees this report as a massive threat. The other faction, which is hostile to the president, obviously sees it as an opportunity, because it enables them, and we've been hearing this over the last few days, it enables senior ANC people to say, look, there's a problem here, we need to deal with the problem. And if you add to that the local election results earlier this year, it gives fuel to those people who are saying, look, voters are not happy with the way the ANC is going, there needs to be change. But that's the view of one faction. The other faction is obviously saying, look, there's nothing wrong, the president didn't do anything wrong, and the problem is the report.
Itumeleng, you are in Pretoria, welcome.
Thank you, Mpo. Mpo, I want to ask about the issue of the oath of office that they take.
Yes.
What weight does that oath have? Like, I really don't understand. Like, right now, we talk about the public protector and then other institutions, but we don't talk about the oath of office that these ministers, even at the municipalities, that they take when they do wrong. Can that oath maybe have at least a little bit of a disciplinary or something? Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, bro.
Executive Members Ethics Act is important in this respect. The question was, those people within the executive, did they really breach the ethical code which binds them by being able to be called, and some of them were not already in the executive, they were being brought in, and the whistleblowers, some of them did indicate that we were trying to be made into ministers. Some were ministers for a few days and so on, and they visited the Guptas for a long time. But I think that even though we are dealing with the Executive Ethics Act, there are other areas which the report did not cover and was not part of the mandate or the request which was made to the public protector. I would like to mention the Waterkloof case, where the Guptas landed in the country. There's no way at all that you enter the airspace of South Africa without our national defense forces being able to intercept you and to be able to arrest you. They didn't do that. So there's a lot of that has not been done already.
Eric, you're in KZN.
Yes, how are you?
I'm well, thanks for the call.
I'm running short of time here.
Quickly.
Yes, is it right for the president to say he is not scared to go to prison?
Well, I mean, that's how he feels.
To the academia there.
Oh, okay, you want the... Okay, that's fine. A very brief question. Prof.
Well, he can say that, but I mean, obviously some voters will feel that if the president's saying that there's something wrong. So, you know, it's a free country. He's got freedom of speech.
Yes.
But you could question whether it's a politically wise thing to say, and many voters probably feel it's not a politically wise thing to say.
What did you think?
Well, I think, you know, obviously the one point which was made, you know, he said he's used to going to jail, and people said, well, you know, there's a huge difference between going to jail for fighting apartheid and going to jail because people say that you're a criminal. So I don't think, my impression is that I don't think it helped his cause very much to make that statement politically.
I think that it is important, if these serious accusations are made against you, to say, let the matter go to court. I will have my day in court. Let the evidence be produced, and I don't think I will be found guilty. The president has been dodging going to the courts for a very long time, not only on the so-called state capture, but on other alleged criminal actions that he committed. And I was surprised the other day when he was in KZN, and he said it doesn't matter whether he goes to jail or not. I don't think that any human being would say, I'm ready to go to jail, except during the liberation movement when you were fighting for a cause and you said, I'm prepared to go to jail. And many have gone to jail fighting for liberation. This time we are fighting for crimes committed of accumulation, of corruption, of fraud, of manipulating state institutions and letting it be controlled by the private sector. It is not only the Guptas. I would say this debate ought to be expanded, but for today we focus on this report.
Hold it there. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll continue our discussion. A reminder that you can call us. The numbers to dial 089-1104-210, 089-1104-210. We shall return shortly.
What is the price of ambition? Early mornings, late nights, or sacrificing the little things now for bigger things tomorrow? Ambitious people are all made of the same stuff. Big dreams, big dedication, and a big attitude. With an understanding that sometimes to get ahead in life, you need a helping hand from those a little bigger than you. For home, for business, for life. Macro, big on life.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. Today, my guests are the academia, Professor Stephen Friedman and Professor Shadrach Guto. Is it William? William, are you in Nelspruit? William?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Paul.
Yes.
I just want to ask, it will be appropriate for those people who are implicated in the state capture report to remain in office. I think they must be suspended until the investigation is finished so that they cannot interfere with the investigation with full pay if it's busy.
But you're talking about politicians here. I mean, if there's a reshuffle, do you think they would come back after 6 months?
Come again?
I'm saying you're talking politicians here. Do you think they would come back after, I mean, if they were to be suspended?
I mean, it will be pointless for them to remain in office while they conduct the investigation. They will interfere with the investigation. I think it will be better if they are suspended until the investigation is finished.
And you also including the president here?
Including the president.
Okay.
Yeah.
How practical is that?
Well, you see, the problem is that they have not been accused, they haven't been charged with anything. I mean, there's obviously a cloud hanging over their head. Now, it depends on how you want to play this politically. There are some people who say, well, if you want to win back public confidence, then it's a good idea to sideline people who've been accused of this.
Yeah.
But certainly there's no, unless somebody's accused of something, legally.
Yes.
It's a political issue. It's a question of whether you think, politicians are not there because they've, they're not put in ministerial positions because of legal decisions. They're put there because of political decisions. And you put them there because you hope that by putting them there, you win public support.
Correct.
If the person sitting there is actually alienating public support, then it's smart politics to remove them. But it depends on how the politics play out.
The ANC seems to be already divided. I mean, we had Dr. Mtshekga yesterday released a statement that says, hey, look, this collective responsibility thing is not working for me. Every man for himself, because said you are on your own.
No, I think that there are areas in governance where there's collective responsibility, a very important constitutional principle, particularly when one is dealing with cabinet. They have a collective responsibility, individual and collective responsibility, because they meet as cabinet, they make decisions as cabinet, they report as a collective. So that principle is already there. The question, of course, is that this should not include everyone in the leadership of the ANC, because others are not members of cabinet. And I think from that point of view, Matole Moseka's statement that no, don't put us all in that pot, because we are not all members of the cabinet. But beyond that, I think it is important because this particular report does not just deal with members of the executive at the national level. It is also dealing with persons serving in state-owned enterprises.
Okay.
And therefore, it calls for a lot, and I believe that in many societies, people would say, I will step aside, let the investigation take place quickly.
Yes.
Let us see whether there's something to answer or not. But it costs a lot because it means somebody will be acting in their positions.
Okay. Yeah. Hold it there. Good news. Welcome.
Welcome, Bo. How are you?
I'm well. Any good news from KZN today?
Yes, it's always good news.
Okay.
Yes, Bo. No, my opinion is that in those guys there, they are professors.
Yes.
But my opinion is that they are not. They doesn't mean that they are better than me, who I'm standard 2 in education. That means they also got their own alignment in political, even if they analyze some things. For me, I'm a member of ANC.
Okay.
In a moment, hey, we're having a hard time.
Okay.
We're going in conflict next year. So you can never trust anyone in ANC from on top, even in the branches. There is those thing of frictions. So, hey, it gives a lot of Guptas each and every day.
But how do you feel as a member of the ANC about all this then? Good news?
It's too very bad. It's very bad thing, but it's caused by the people who are in position, hype from province. This thing starts from province, right in the national.
Oh,
so
okay.
it makes us to be very, very, very well bad in the branches. Because in the branches we want service delivery. Yeah. Not each and every time Guptas. It got nothing to do with the Guptas. There's a lot of Guptas in South Africa too. It's not only those guys, Indian guys from India.
Okay.
There's a lot white and black Guptas.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay, a lot of black and white Guptas, you say? Okay, good news. Thank you very much. But, Prof, can we trust Matola Motshekga? He sits in the NEC. He's a senior leader of the ANC serving in Parliament. Yes, he's no longer the chief whip, but he's chair of the portfolio committee. And in case there's a vote of no confidence motion that is tabled by the DA, as it is, I don't think Matola will vote against the ANC.
Well, of course, you're correct. And I mean, you know, politicians are not always consistent, etc. But the interesting thing about this is what it means politically. And you know, with respect for the caller to say there are no factions, when you have a situation where people like Jackson Mthembu and Motoli Motshekga are saying publicly that they don't trust the leadership, where you know, you have situations where Gwede Mantashe, who's the Secretary General, is saying, look, this was unacceptable and that was unacceptable. I mean, clearly what has happened over the last while or so is that ANC people who were opposed to the president are now prepared to say this publicly. Where this ends up, we don't know. But it begins to look, it may end up in a different way, it begins to look a bit like things looked before President Mbeki was removed. Because there too you had suddenly all sorts of people who'd been remaining silent coming out and saying it's unacceptable. So it's a new phase in ANC politics, whether you trust the people involved or not. The fact that they're talking publicly means that there's a conflict in the ANC which is coming out into the open, and that's very important.
Prof, your closing remarks?
Well, I think that it is not just Matola Motshekga. In fact, he has come out very late. There have already been so-called struggle veterans. Some are true, some are hanging on there, pretending to be. But the respected ones have come up to say it is a time for us either to have a consultative conference of the party to be able to see how to deal with this matter, whether to ask the president to stand aside or not is another matter. So it is a matter which goes much deeper than one person, just Matola Motshekga, because he's been one of those who have been singing songs of the president for so long. Sometimes he's been lying in parliament. So I think that we have to take that into account. But the other is to be able to say, we need another debate, I hope, on the question of state capture, because under capitalist political system, political economy, state capture has so many controllers of industry, controllers of finance institutions and so on, and the state may have been captured long before 1994.
Whoa. Okay, thank you very much, my esteemed panel there. That was question time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. From me and the crew, have yourself a wonderful time. I be hot.
Please found